Welcome to another edition of OnSide SA, and we've got a winner. The competition budge has been won.
Yeah, Paul, Brett Galley, Joburg boy. How he won it, I'll never know, Paul. No disrespect to his Tottenham pick, but looking at it, you thought Liverpool would beat Bournemouth, especially after they thrashed United. And I thought Man United, Mark Fulham.
Yeah, Mark Fulham, that sending off didn't help.
And Brighton, Paul, they were always ahead and conceded late on. So, but well done to Brett, Paul.
Okay, Kelly Potts, Andrew from Boston, Phineas Loker. Who's this other one? Mark Fulham and Jordan Story.
Yeah, Jordan, shame.
Shame, they all went to the last hurdle. But well done to Brett Galley, he's the winner. Liverpool supporter.
Unfortunately, Paul will be going to Anfield. He's looking at the Man United Liverpool game. So let's see what happens.
Good game. Right, week one of the new one. Again, a bit of a train smash, Budge.
Paul, 4 competitions this season. Liverpool have kicked off at lunchtime 3 times. Every time they haven't won.
Okay,
so, lunchtime kickoff's been a bit of a...
The Man United took 183, Liverpool 119, Brighton 24, Brentford 20, West Ham 10, Leeds 4, Aston Villa 3, Leicester City 1. The ones to go through, Tottenham, Man City, and they were 78th minute. Newcastle, Chelsea, Arsenal, and Everton. Right, pick of the round, Melly Sewell.
Everton, Paul, he was...
What a great pick, eh?
Well, he was a little bit late because he had to go to a funeral. I got a hold of him, he said, Budge, he apologised, said, my picks are coming right now. And Everton, I looked, I don't argue with people.
I thought she's going back to the funeral.
Paul, he's had 2 of the best 3 picks we've ever had. Remember, he found Norwich. How
does this guy, Melly Sewell, the drummer, find these things? Well done, Melly. It doesn't mean you're going to win, but well done.
Great choice.
Performance around 1, Tace Statler, 4 winners.
He had 4 picks, Paul, 4 different winners.
That's excellent.
So good start from Tace.
29 ladies entered, 21 went through.
Yeah, Paul, I was going to mention them, but the ladies are getting very shrewd, So normally we only mention a few of them, but whoever goes through this round...
Do you think the ladies are getting men to tip to them?
No chance.
No chance. Let's give special mention, Budge. Tony Cass.
Yeah.
Colin Gordon. Woolivez.
Yeah.
We're good man. Trevor Free, Big Trev. Dale Otto, the Pinetown man.
Yeah.
And Louis Pereira, I don't know.
Yeah, he's one a Portuguese boy. Paul, those guys haven't been through round 1 for ages, and the harder they try, unfortunately, they just seem to pick the lemon.
How does Stevie B go?
No, Baba, shame. Well, Liverpool, you put a book on
Colours?
Liverpool. All the stiffies were on Liverpool, Paul. So
let's try to get Steve on the line.
I don't know if he hasn't
I don't know if he's talking to us.
Steve, good morning.
Good morning. Yeah, was there a competition? Did I miss something?
I got to go and ask Mark. He had 2 picks. He went through on both, but
he knows not to use Liverpool.
Yeah, he knows what to use Liverpool. Correct. Steve, Champions League. Obviously, last 16, some great games. Man City 7, RB Leipzig 0.
I mean, fantastic. I mean, they had a little bit of good fortune with some VAR, but ultimately they were just unplayable in the second half. Leipzig, well, they sort of gave up a bit like United did, but I mean, Haaland's performance. I mean, every one of his goals, he was just there.
Right place.
And he sort of, it was interesting seeing him being interviewed afterwards because they were saying. Didn't Pep realise that if you'd stayed on, you might have broken because he equalled Messi's record of 5 in a game. So he was, saying that he had a bit of a go at Pep for taking him off early. But it was an incredible performance, and thank goodness, because obviously with 2 English clubs going out, we've only just got the 2 out of the 8, and surprisingly, for the first time in many years, we've got 3 Italian teams through to the last day.
Yeah.
Steve, one quick question. I read somewhere that Haaland had a go at one of the pundits.
One of the pundits? How come?
Like
would have been
Carragher or Neville or I don't know. I just saw a headline: Haaland has a go at one.
No, it was quite jokey. So no, it was fine. So no, it was a good performance, and I think you can see why a lot of the bookies have got City as favourites to win the competition.
Yeah, I saw 16-10, Steve. But, fair price. You never know who they're going to get.
They always seem to stumble.
They always seem to stumble. You're right, but I think this could be the year, especially with him up front. I just worry about their back four, seeing Nathan Aki and Stones as fullbacks, but. Hard to beat Man City. The other game I watched, once the first goal went, I watched Porto Inter Milan. What a terrible game.
Yeah.
Porto a little bit unlucky at the bar, hit the bar twice in the last couple of minutes, but Inter Milan went through. I didn't watch the Napoli game because I was flicking between the Premiership, but Real Madrid won, Liverpool 0, Steve. It's just a pity they were 3 goals clear.
Game.
If they'd been one or 2 goals clear, I think it would have been maybe more, I don't know what, like a closer game. But
I mean, Liverpool needed an early goal, and they huffed and puffed, but ultimately it wasn't that good a game. That a lot of misplaced passes by both teams, and in the end, the result was probably just about fair. As the game wore on, it was obvious Liverpool weren't gonna sort of bridge that gap of the 3 goals, and so it sort of petered out a little bit.
Yeah, well, the goalkeepers both played well. The first game, they both had nightmares and some good saves, especially by Alisson. Steve, on to the Premiership last night. Brighton 1, Palace 0. I watched the first few minutes. Palace should have been ahead. Then the little guy that plays up front, is he South Korean, Japanese? Is it
Japanese guy?
Katana. Geez, he's a nice player. Good ball.
Mitoma.
Yeah.
No, we didn't have those games. I just saw some highlights late yesterday, but. Palace, their problem at the moment is scoring goals.
Yeah.
And, they needed to score when they had chances. And Brighton, got an early goal and that was enough.
Yeah. Southampton 0, Brentford 2. I watched a bit of that as well. Southampton were woeful. After watching them against United, I thought they'd have a little bit of a spark. But, Brentford, for me, it always looked like sneaking the victory. Did you see the highlights?
Brentford up to 8.
Just brief highlights. And I was surprised. I thought Southampton, especially after that point at Old Trafford, would give them a better game. But looking at the highlights, looking at the stats, Brentford thoroughly deserved to win it. Yeah. And Southampton are in trouble because they had the opportunity to get out of that bottom 3, and now they've used up a game, still bottom, with Tottenham coming at home at the weekend. So you can see that you can see why the bookies have got Southampton as one of the odds-on teams to go down.
Yeah, they're in serious trouble. Not impressed with their performance, and with Tottenham coming up, they're going to be in even more trouble. Steve, Europa League, Man United tonight.
They'll go through.
4-1 up. I'm going to have a few ran on Betis. I didn't think it was a 4-1 game, even though the last 20 minutes United ran riot. And I watched them on Sunday against Villarreal. I was all over Villarreal, but they played real Betis. I don't see United winning tonight. Hopefully I'm wrong. But do you think he'll play his best team again?
I think he'll play. Well, he's got 1 or 2 injuries. Yeah. I think Casemiro will certainly play because he's out for 4 games, and he's the way he was talking. Fernandes will play. I think he'll play a strongish team, but I think I wouldn't be at all surprised if they lose, but they'll go through. Because I don't think Betis will make up the 3 goals. Anthony hasn't travelled; he's injured. Garnacho is out for a few weeks, so whether he'll want to risk Rashford, with cup and league games coming up, I don't know. But so he's got a bit of a selection problem. But as I say, he's got a reasonable squad, and I think if they were going there with a 1-goal lead, I think he would be forced to play his strongest available side. But I wouldn't be surprised if he just mixes and matches a little bit.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a difficult game regardless. They score early, the game's going to be on. Arsenal Sporting, I know he's going to rotate. I watched the last season because it was an early kickoff. I think Arsenal will be too good, whatever team he picks out.
I think so. Sporting gave them a good game, but I think he will rest 1 or 2 because they play in the league on Sunday, and for them that is definitely priority. Yeah. So I wouldn't be at all surprised if he rests. But with Jesus back, he might decide to throw him in, and might sort of rest Odegaard. I mean, he's got a few options. I think that he might sort of have a few of the big names on the bench and bring them on if he needs to.
Yeah, that would be the wisest thing. And West Ham should go through. They beat the Cyprus team last week. And,
there's no reason why he can't play a strong side. They don't play at the weekend, and then there's the international break. I think he needs his players to start winning, and I think that he'll play a relatively strong side, and they should go through comfortably.
Yeah, obviously the international week after this weekend, so it'll be 2 weeks for most of the teams. Anyway, Steve, on to the Premiership for the weekend, and we kick off on Friday. Big game for obviously top four and relegation column. Notts Forest unbeaten in the last 9 home league games against a Newcastle team who I thought were fairly fortunate on Sunday when they won 2-1. They sneaked in late. I thought Wolves played well, but good result. How do you see this one going?
Yeah, I mean, it's strange. If you look at Forest, as you say, unbeaten in 9 at home, yet awful away.
Yeah.
You just think, why is there why are they? It's such a differential between the performances. I think you're right. Wolves are playing well at the moment, and I think they were a little bit unfortunate not to get something at Newcastle. But I've got a feeling Newcastle might just come good here. They want to try and get that 4th place. They need a win because obviously Tottenham have just sort of got themselves in that position at the moment. Yeah. Forest are still far too close to the bottom 3 for comfort. So for me, I think if there was to be a winner, I'd probably plump for Newcastle. But you could see Forest holding them. They've got injuries. They've still got a lot of players out, Forest. So I think that could still hurt them.
Yeah, I think there'll be goals in this game. But I agree. I think Newcastle the draw. Steve, I'm all over Aston Villa. I know Bournemouth were unlucky when they got beat 3-2 at Arsenal and they beat Liverpool. I thought Liverpool were woeful. Aston Villa at home, always hard to beat. And I think Aston Villa are good things here, Steve. How do you see it?
Yeah, I do. I think they're having a decent run. I mean, I know they obviously did lose at home to Arsenal not that long ago, but Unai Emery has got them playing quite well, and by all accounts they were quite good value for their points at West Ham last week. I think they should definitely start as favourites. Bournemouth, will want to get something out of the game, but I think Villa, especially with Ollie Watkins with his scoring boots on, might just be a little bit too strong for them.
Yeah, I agree. Brentford, Leicester. Good result for Brentford last night. I don't know what to make from Leicester. They fought hard against Chelsea, but Chelsea could have scored 6 or 7, and in fairness to Leicester, so could they. This is a big game for them, Steve. They're slowly drifting into that relegation zone.
They are. I mean, having sort of, you think it was only a few weeks ago they had that big win over Tottenham, and they've lost their last 4 in a row in the league. I fancy Leicester to get something here. I'm not sure. I just got a feeling that they will do. But Brentford have surprised me. That was having sort of lost the weekend. I just thought that Southampton might get something last night. Yeah. It was Brentford were definitely the better team. I can see them cancelling each other out, but I'm not sure Leicester have got enough to win at Brentford. They're making themselves hard to beat.
That's nice pitch.
Brentford will win at home. The 8th in the log. It's a pokey track. They I don't know if they like to spread it to Barnes and people down the flanks. You can't do that here. You cannot do that here. This is a Brentford are tailor-made to hold anybody at this little pokey ground. I'm all over Brentford at even money.
All over Brentford. Now, the team that I'm all over this weekend is Tottenham. I know Paul's his top 4 hopes are back online. Really disappointed in Southampton. I thought they could have gone for it against Man United as well, Steve. Yeah. That point obviously is a good point, but they had United there. I know it's away from home. I would have gone for it. They sat the extra man at the back. I thought that was 2 points dropped. I know it's at Old Trafford, so people will disagree with me. If they give Kane and Son and the guys chances, they're going to get well beat here, Steve. If Tottenham score early, I think this is a landslide. What do you think?
Well, look, this is a game that Tottenham have got to look to win because the opportunity of other, not everybody else is playing. They could pull themselves up. In fact, if they win, they go into 3rd place, I think, on points. So with United not playing, Southampton, their home record is the worst in the Premier League. So everything sort of points towards an away win. But you don't know with Tottenham, and Paul knows better than us. Tottenham can be inconsistent, but I think if they hit their straps early, Harry Kane gets scores. I think that they should win by at least a couple.
Yeah, I just think that midweek game from Southampton would have taken an edge off them, where Spurs will go in there, expect a quick fire, 20-minute start, sneak one, and I think they'll win comfortably. On to the second.
But there's no early game on Saturday.
No.
There's a Friday game.
There's a Friday game, yeah.
Okay, so Notts is
Notts
Friday
Forest
night.
is a Friday night game.
Then these are all 5 o'clock kickoffs.
Yep, and then we've got
the
FA Cup as well
okay,
coming later.
I'm with you.
Steve, Wolves, Leeds. Leeds, under Javi Gracia, they've been competitive, even when they lost to you in the Cup and they lost elsewhere. They've been competitive. This isn't an easy game, I think, for Wolves. I know Wolves are playing well, and the second half they always seem to get strong. But for me, I think this has got draw written all over it.
Yeah.
How do you see it?
Yeah, I think you're right. They are competitive, but they're finding it hard to win, and they got a late goal for their only win against Southampton. But I like Wolves. I think I watched them at Fulham a couple of weeks ago, and I was very impressed with their first half performance, and I was impressed with the way they played it at times at Newcastle. Scoring goals has been their problem, but I think if they do score first, I think that they'll beat Leeds, and I fancy Wolves to win that, and Leeds will stay in trouble.
Yeah, and you look at the form, Leeds have 2 points from the last 7 away games, and Wolves are 1-3 and lost 1. The only problem with that was it was Bournemouth at home. Yeah. So Leeds a Grand Prix team, so I just got a funny feeling it'll be tight, and if Bamford's got his boots on, Leeds have got a chance. If not, I agree. But I think that 22-10 that draws the game. Steve, are Chelsea back? I watched 10 minutes of the second half last week. Leicester could have scored 3 goals, but in fairness to Chelsea, they could have scored 3 as well. I think 4-10 is short.
Short. Everton defend well.
Yeah, I think you're right. Look, they had a good week. They won 3 games in a row in league and in the Champions League, and that's taken some pressure off Graham Potter. And you look at the players he's got available. They should be beating the likes of Leicester, and so I think they'll start as favourites. I think Sean Dyche is going to go there. At the moment, obviously, since Sean Dyche has gone there, they've won 3 at home. All by 1-0. It's away where they're struggling, and I think that I wouldn't be at all surprised they'll go there and they'll put 10 men behind the ball and they'll try and get a low score draw. But I fancy Chelsea just to edge that.
Yeah, I think there'll be goals in that game, Steve. At Everton's 3 games under Dyche, they drew at Forest, they should have won that, and they lost at Liverpool. Remember, they could have gone 1-0 up, but they hit the post and Liverpool scored, and then they got outclassed at Arsenal. So, I think they'll score. Even money to score Everton. I'm all over that bit. I think they'll score. And last but not least, Steve, Arsenal Palace. I think this is a 3-4-0 game. Palace, shame, can't score. Maybe this is a game that changes, but I'm all over Arsenal here, Steve.
Yeah, I mean, last season, Palace gave Arsenal a couple of really hard games. I think in the home game, Arsenal just got away with a 2-2 draw. I think Palace could score. I think Vieira's getting a bit frustrated with them. But, the way Arsenal play, and obviously I saw them close up last week, they move the ball well. They've got pretty much their entire squad back from injury. I would be very surprised if they don't win comfortably, and it's a huge game for them because they can open up an 8-point gap over City.
Yeah, totally agree. I think Arsenal's certainties. On to the FA Cup, Steve. I know we're the big game of the round, but Vincent Kompany, whose team have only lost 3 games this season, travelled to his old club Man City. I doubt there'll be an upset here, Steve, but how do you see Burnley going though?
Well, I think they should. There's no question. He should be playing their strongest available side. They don't play again for another week and a half because of or 2 weeks because of the international break. They're so far clear in the Championship. They're not going to get caught. Yeah. City will rotate a bit because I think they just will because they obviously had played during the week. He may or may not even start with Haaland, but might start with Alvarez. But I think whatever team City puts out, you would expect them to be too strong. But I think Burnley can give them a good game, but you can't see anything other than a home win.
Yeah, totally agree. On to Sunday, Sheffield United, Blackburn. Both teams going well in the Championship. Blackburn beat them 1-0 at home the other day.
They did.
7-10. You think that's...
Yeah, to me, I mean, the odds look a little bit short for Sheffield United, especially as Blackburn, as you say, beat them recently, although it was at Ewood Park. Yeah. I think this is a close game. I hope, again, just because there's an international break, that they both play their strongest available sides, because they haven't been in the Cup previously, even though Sheffield United got through against Spurs, having rested 1 or 2. I think this will be a good game, big crowd. I just fancy there could be a bit of an upset. I mean, Blackburn they won. Although Sheffield United had a good win last night, came from behind to win at Sunderland. But I just think 4-1 Blackburn. I think that's a pretty good price.
Yeah, agree. I think there'll be a few goals too. Now, Steve, my FA Cup tip, I don't know if you can remember, was Brighton at 27-1. Surely they've got to be the Grimsby team who knocked out Southampton in the last round.
Yeah, I mean, Brighton. Look, absolutely. I mean, again, there's no reason why De Zerbi can't play his strongest available side or close to it, because again, they haven't got a league game. Grimsby are on a decent run at the moment, but you can't. You'd be very. If Brighton play as they have been recently, you can't see anything other than a comfortable home win. There'll be a lot of Grimsby fans. It's a huge day out for them. First time in some almost a generation that they've reached this round in the competition. Yeah. So good luck to them. I think they'll have a great day out, but Brighton should get through. Yeah, and the upset of the round, Fulham upsetting Man United, Steve? Sadly, I can't see it. We just sort of got off the boil a bit. We've got Polina back, thankfully. Okay. We're hoping Willian is fit. He wasn't fit to play Arsenal. Look, United, we know without Casemiro, possibly without Anthony, at home in the Cup, United are going to be favourites, and I would be very surprised if it's not a home win. I think it'll be close, but I think that United will win. Last 22 home games in all competitions, 19 wins and 3 draws United. Okay. So save the season, but you never know, Steve. It just depends on the team he plays tonight, but I agree, at Old Trafford, I think you're under a hard ride. Yeah. Anyway, on to the Championship, where all the games are on Saturday, and Blackpool, Coventry. Steve, I was on Coventry last week at home. I thought they beat Hull City. They drew. They cost me money in midweek when they drew again. Blackpool at home, Bloomfield Road, unbeaten in 5, Steve. Can you see them causing another upset, Blackpool? Well, I think they can. I mean, they had a huge win during the week against QPR, and they were 4-0 up in no time at all. Yeah. So, and you say Coventry were just getting themselves into that position, just below the playoff places, and have dropped points. So I think Blackpool are going to be full of confidence. Coventry are capable of holding them, but I think of the two, you'd think Blackpool would be favourites. Yeah. Middlesbrough too good for my Preston North End boys? I think they will be. Preston had a good win during the week, but I think Middlesbrough are really eyeing up that, trying to chase down Sheffield United. They got caught out during the week, Middlesbrough, but I think that they will. I think they'll get all 3 points. Surely Millwall are going to be too good for Huddersfield Town. Yes, I mean Huddersfield are trying hard, but they're a little bit adrift, and I think Millwall should be too strong. All right, QPR Birmingham. 2 teams terribly out of form. They both won last week but got beaten in midweek. Which way do you see it going? Well, I think that Gareth Ainsworth was probably read the riot act to QPR after that performance. They evidently played quite well against Watford. I think that probably should be too strong at home at the weekend, and I fancy QPR to win that. Yeah, Reading, Paul Ince's team, they've only won one of the last 6, got beat at Blackburn last night. They stopped scoring goals, but their home form saved them this season, Steve. How do you see them going against Hull? Hull lost. Well, Hull are not an easy team to beat, and obviously they got beaten last night, by the best team in the league. But I think Reading, as you say, at home, that's where they're stronger and they score at home. I think Reading should just edge that. Yeah, I think goals is the way to go. On to our second page, we've got Rotherham at home to Cardiff City. Cardiff City drew 1-1 yet last night against Norwich. Rotherham lost to my Preston boys 2-1 at home. I like Rotherham of the 2 teams, Steve. Do you agree? Yes, but again, a little bit inconsistent. I think they'd be disappointed they lost at home to Preston because, they've been strong at home. But I think of the 2, I think if there was to be a winner, I would still plump with Rotherham. Yeah, totally agree. Stoke City, Norwich, I've sat on the fence here, Steve. One thing, I'm going over 2.5 goals. Stoke have been scoring goals lately. I watched them beat Blackburn 3-2. They drew 1-1 at Middlesbrough. Norwich in and out, they score goals as well. So I've opted for goals in my bets. Of the 2, it's tough to call. Well, I mean, Norwich, you think will be favourites, but Stoke have just made themselves hard to beat. They had a big win a couple of weeks ago, as we know, at Sunderland. They beat Blackburn, They were 3 up and obviously let in a couple of late goals, and then they got a good draw during the week.
Yeah.
I think that they're going to be hard to beat. I can see Stoke holding Norwich.
Yeah.
But I think you're right. It could be one of these sort of games, 2-2 or something.
Yeah, I think there'll be plenty of goals in that. Sunderland gone off the boil as well, Steve, at home against a Luton Town team who are going well. They're just behind Middlesbrough, and I think they're in 4th place. Yeah, I just can't trust Sunderland at the moment.
They are. They're hard to beat. They've had a couple of good wins in the last week, Luton by a goal. Sunderland really have gone off the boil. I mean, they were on a good run, and all of a sudden they've just started shipping goals, particularly at home as well. I think Luton will avoid, whether Luton will win there, but I think that Luton will certainly can avoid defeat.
Yeah, I agree there. You just never know with Sunderland. They score goals, but they've been conceded plenty of late.
Wigan are the punch bags. Eh?
Yeah, shame, just can't crack it. And I think Watford, I think this is last chance saloon for your brother's team, Steve. Watford, they had a good result during the week. If they don't beat Wigan, that playoff spot will be in jeopardy. But I think they're good
Wigan
things.
got a point last night.
I think they're good things,
Yeah,
Watford.
we're going to make themselves hard to beat, but they're not winning games.
Yeah.
You know, they've had a few draws recently under Sean Maloney, but they're still in that bottom 3. Watford have to win this. You know, they had a good win during the week against Birmingham. They've got to win this because, you know, the teams above them, in the playoff places, are winning as well.
Yeah.
So, you know, they're not closing the gap, but certainly they need to win this, and I think they will.
Yeah, 2 or 3-0. And last but not least, Sunday lunchtime, Swansea, Bristol City. There'll be goals in this. There always is with Swansea, but which way do you see it going?
Yeah, well, again, I mean, Swansea the other day had all the possession, but still lost, and this is the story of their season.
Yeah.
You know, they're not scoring the goals when they're on top. Bristol City were having a good run. Obviously, they lost last night, disappointingly, or the night before to Luton. I think there will be goals in this, and I wouldn't be at all surprised if of the 2. I wouldn't be surprised if Bristol City get something there.
Yeah, I think goals, that's the way we've gone, but tough to call, but we're watching it on Sunday. Steve, pressure time again. You're on fire last week. Who are you on this week?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm quite on fire this week. It's a tricky one.
Yeah.
I might go for Wolves as my best bet. I just think that for me, they've certainly turned the corner, and although they're still a bit too close to the bottom 3, I think that they'll edge that. And my value bet, I'm going to go for Blackburn. I just think, you know, having beaten Sheffield United recently, and 4-1 just seems quite generous. So you never know. It's a one-off game. Anything could happen.
Yeah, I've changed course. So I hummed and hard. You know, I've got to take 8 to 10 or more. And Spurs are 8.5 to 10 this morning. So, you know, yesterday I did give Southampton a chance, but after watching them last night, they were woeful. And I think Real Madrid will beat Barcelona on Sunday, Steve, 22 to 10. I know Benzema's carrying a knock, but they were cruising last night against Liverpool. And
he scored.
I've backed Barcelona the last couple of weeks, and they've really been lucky. So. El Clasico, Real Madrid, 22 to 10.
Yeah.
Steve,
all the best, pal.
thanks again, and good luck on Sunday.
Well,
are you going to the game?
Yeah. No, I'll watch it. It's live on the box. It's it's annoying because for example, I know a few people going, but there are no trains back because it's finishes quite late on the Sunday.
Okay.
So it's the timing is shocking.
Yeah,
but that's but the TV companies don't care really about the fans, do they?
One of the guys that we met over with the Sussex Arms, the rugby, Kevin Power, good mate of Dean Moody's here. He's going to the game. He's a big Fulham man. So he's travelling up.
A couple of photos.
I've been there. I've seen us lose many times at Old Trafford, and we've played them in the last sort of 40 years. We played them 3 times away in the FA Cup and lost them all, and I was there for them. So maybe if I don't go, that might bring us a bit of luck.
Okay.
So.
Steve, don't forget, work out your last one standing.
For next season, anyway.
Yeah. I'm definitely ready for next season.
All right, Steve, all the best. Thanks very much.
Take it easy.
Talk to you soon. Bye.
Okay.
Bye.
PSL fixtures, but let's
Paul.
get straight into it. What is the latest?
Paul, there were 2 games in midweek. I watched Sundowns win 7. I think it was Richards Bay, or was it 5-0? What a display of finishing, Paul. They've stepped up
They
again.
can play their C team. They've got the league wrapped up and everything.
And Maroon McGallants, I was hoping it was on because Dylan Kerr's at Maroon McGallants now. I spoke to Dylan.
He moves around.
Yeah, he's a relegation battler. So they're bottom of the league. They drew 2-2, but they aren't playing this week. They're both in CAF, Sundowns and Maroon McGallants. But there's 2 games on Friday, and we'll get it up now. Stellenbosch against against Amazulu. Paul, Amazulu can't win away from home. I think it's 1 win in 8. They've drawn 6 of them. Stellenbosch are going well, Paul. Of the 2 teams, I like Stellenbosch. Steve Barker's got his boys playing well. They've won 3 and drawn 1 of the last 4. I like Stellenbosch of the 2 teams, Paul.
Okay, Swallows, Arrows, much between them?
Nothing much, Paul. Arrows are good to watch, but they've been battling the win. Yeah, they've lost 5 of the last 7. Swallows, you never know, Paul. At Dobsonville, they're hard to beat.
Yeah.
Only Pirates have beat them in the last 6 games. If I had to side with one of the teams, I'd go Swallows, but a draw player.
Sekhukhune,
I
Chipper?
like them, Paul. They don't get beat. I think there's in Polokwane where they play. Chipper, in and out, fired the manager last week, got knocked out the cup. Sekhukhune for me, Paul. 9 to 10 is short, especially for a PSL team. But of the 2 teams, I fancy Sekhukhune.
All right, the next one coming up is
On
going
to
to
the
be
second page. Pirates Supersport, Paul. A good game.
Very good game.
You know, I think both teams to score. I saw 13 to 10. So if I have an interest, that'll be my play. But I like Supersport. Gavin's always up for the big games, Paul. Supersport in the draw for me there. And Chiefs, they played each other in the Nedbank Cup. It was a night game. And Maritzburg was a tight game. Maritzburg had a player sent off. So Chiefs ended up winning 2-0. Paul, every time I watch Chiefs, they win, but they don't seem to impress me. The teams they're playing always have a player sent off.
Yeah.
Chiefs in a draw for me there, Paul. And I like TS Galaxy at home against Richards Bay.
All right, Budge, let's go and have a look at your selections.
Yeah,
your track and ball, 6.
Score 6, yeah. So I'm banking Aston Villa to beat Bournemouth. I'm going the field in the Brentford Leicester, looking for an upset. I've thrown the draw in with Tottenham at Southampton. I've gone the field in the Wolves Leicester City game. I don't see Chelsea losing at home to Everton, and Man City should beat Burnley 2-1-6. On to other Saturday soccer 6. I'm going Sundowns, win and draw. I think it's in Libya they play Al Hilal and Durban. I'm going Almeria. Durham, yeah. I'm going Almeria to avoid defeat against Cadiz. I'm chancing Sekhukhune United to beat Chipper United. I'm going Wolves, win and draw at home against Leeds United. And siding with 2 away sides, I'm going Supersport, win and draw at Orlando Pirates, and Kaizer Chiefs, win and draw at Harry Gwala against Maritzburg United, 192. On to our score 10, I'm banking Aston Villa to beat Bournemouth, going Brentford, win and draw at home against Leicester, as well as Tottenham, win and draw away at Southampton. Wolverhampton Wanderers, win and draw at home against Leeds United. Unfortunately, I've got a banker Middlesbrough to beat my beloved Preston North End. On to the second page, I'm banking Millwall to beat Huddersfield Town, going 2 fields in the Stoke City, Norwich City and Sunderland Newton Town matches. I don't see Chelsea losing at home to Everton, and Man City should be good things against Burnley, 288.
The big one.
On to the soccer 13, really difficult this week. I'm banking Chelsea to beat Everton, Tottenham to beat Southampton, Brentford to beat Leicester, going Wolves, win and draw at home against Leeds United, Aston Villa to beat Bournemouth, Man City to beat Burnley, Coventry City to avoid defeat at Blackpool. Onto the second page, Middlesbrough to beat Preston North End, Queen's Park Rangers to avoid defeat at home against Birmingham City, and another home team, Reading, win and draw at home against Hull City. Rotherham I don't see losing at home against Cardiff City, and signing with Norwich City to avoid defeat at Stoke City. In the last game, Sunderland win and draw against Luton, but those last 5 games could go either way, Paul. Really tricky. 256.
Budgie's best bets.
Budgie's bets, Paul. We crack on. The first one is a Premiership treble. I'm going Aston Villa to beat Bournemouth. I'm going over 2.5 goals and both teams to score yes in the Brentford versus Leicester game. And I'm going over 2.5 goals and both teams to score no in the Arsenal Crystal Palace game. I think that's 3-0, 4-0 like last week, Paul.
Okay.
2,800
goals
to 200.
only,
yeah, I'm going Aston Villa and Tottenham to score over 1.5 goals. And I'm going Everton against Chelsea and Burnley against Man City just to score. They could get beat 3 or 4-0.
Those last 2 are tough, but you could be right.
I think Everton will score at Chelsea, Paul. They give too many chances. 2,500 at 200. On to the Championship. I'm going Millwall to beat Huddersfield, Watford to beat Wigan Athletic, and over 2.5 goals in the Stoke City, Norwich City, and Swansea City versus Bristol City fixtures.
That's quite a good one.
2,100 to 200.
Quite a good one.
Both teams to score sides are QPR Sunderland, Stoke City, Norwich City, Sunderland, Luton, and Swansea City, Bristol City, 2,300 to 200. PSL was dodgy, Paul, so I opted to go in Spain. I'm going Atletico Madrid to beat Valencia, Real Betis to beat Mallorca, and Getafe to beat Seville. And then both teams to score in the Espanyol Real Betis. That's wrong. It's the Espanyol game. It's Celta Vigo, apologies. It's not Real Betis. 3,500 to 200. And our Collis King 6 or Nixa, I'm going Aston Villa to beat Bournemouth, Arsenal to beat Crystal Palace, Bayern Munich to beat Bayer Leverkusen, Fiorentina to beat Lecce, Atletico Madrid to beat Valencia, and Real Betis to beat Mallorca. 3,400 to 200.
Well played, Budge. Well played. So that's where we are. And until next time, stay on side.